Hey everyone, welcome back to another Harkla YouTube video. Happy to have you here today. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica. We are the Certified Occupational Therapy Assistants with Harkla, and today we're going to talk about ways to help your child improve their independence with self-feeding skills.
So first of all, what is self-feeding? Why is it so important? Basically, it's your ability to feed yourself, and it's a skill that most adults take for granted, to be honest. Whether they're our kiddos or our clients or our students, they all need to learn how to efficiently feed themselves, and that is what we're going to teach you how to do today.
First, let's dive into what components are included in self-feeding. It includes picking up a cup and drinking your drink from a cup.
It includes using utensils, a fork, a knife, a spoon efficiently with one hand or both hands if needed.
It includes bringing food to your mouth, whether that is finger food like pizza or using your utensils to pick up your food and put it in your mouth.
It also includes chewing and swallowing the food safely.
Now let's chat about some of the underlying skills that are required for success with self-feeding. The first one is fine motor skills. So being able to pick up and manipulate the utensils, the cup, the food with your hands.
The next one is visual motor integration. So being able to visually locate, grab, move the food, the utensils efficiently.
Another one is force modulation. So knowing how much force to use when you're using your spoon to scoop your cereal and bring it to your mouth, or how much force to use when you're picking up your cup of water and bringing it to your mouth to drink. If you use too much force, you're gonna spill everything.
Going along with that is mid-range control. So being able to have the appropriate control mid-range, so that way you're not dropping your soup off your spoon before it gets to your mouth.
Another one is oral motor awareness and registration and control. So that includes your cheeks, your lips, your tongue, your teeth, everything on your mouth, on and around your mouth that you use to eat and chew and swallow with. If something's not quite working right in your oral motor skills, then self-feeding will be very difficult.
And the last one here is bilateral coordination. So being able to stabilize the plate with one hand and scoop your food with your spoon without the plate moving all over the place. So, or even holding a fork and a knife as well and cutting your food safely with a fork and a knife.
Yeah. Now, quick note, if you are concerned about your child's ability to safely chew and swallow, it's really important to make sure you get them assessed or evaluated for any potential swallowing difficulties, because that can be a safety concern.
This is especially important if your child has low muscle tone around their oral structures. Chewing and swallowing can be very difficult, and it can be a safety concern if they might choke or they just don't have the control to move everything inside of their mouths appropriately. So definitely rule that out. Same with just self-feeding in general. If you're feeling like your child is really struggling in this area, in-person occupational therapy services can be really helpful.
Let's dive into 5 ways that you can work on improving independence with your child's self-feeding skills.
The first one is to practice using utensils during playtime. So get your sensory bins out, make sure you watch our previous video about sensory bins, and use spoons and forks and knives and cups. I don't really know how you'd use knives with a sensory bin, but I'm sure that you could probably figure something out. You'd be creative. But work on scooping, work on the mid-range control, so that way they aren't dropping the beans or rice off of their spoon while they're pretending to bring it to their mouth.
Just make sure that they're not trying to actually eat the beans.
No, we don't want that.
So you're right there with them, of course.
Yes.
You can also use Play-Doh or clay to practice cutting skills. So roll the Play-Doh into a pancake or a snake.
Yeah.
And use your fork and your knife to practice those cutting skills and work on that bilateral integration, force modulation, but also Play-Doh is a great one to use to, practice those fine motor skills as well.
Even using a fork to cut the Play-Doh by itself, that's another challenging skill that doesn't get enough work.
Number 2 is to do more messy play. So messy food play is really great during mealtime, but try incorporating it during playtime as well, so that your child can learn how to tolerate the different food textures on their hands, on their face, maybe on their arms or their feet, if you want to go that far.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Generally, the rule of thumb is a child won't tolerate a food in their mouth if they aren't willing to touch it with their hands. So as soon as they're comfortable with touching the black beans on their fingers, then they will be more inclined to touch it to their tongue or to their lips or lick it. But if they aren't willing to touch it with their hands, they're probably not going to be willing to try it.
Number 3 is to work on more specific bilateral integration and crossing midline activities. One of our favorites for this is cross crawls. And this is where you do this activity standing, and you're going to lift one knee up in the air and touch it with your opposite elbow, and then do the same for your other knee and elbow. This is really great to get both sides of the body coordinating together as well as crossing midline.
Another fun activity is to sit on a therapy ball, or if that's too difficult, just a chair, a small chair, so the child's feet can touch the floor, and then put a sticker on their toes and on both sides, and then have them reach with their opposite hand to grab the sticker off of their toe and do so on the other side as well. So they're crossing midline, but they're also working on that postural stability, which is also an underlying skill for being able to just sit at the table. So
yeah,
another fun one.
Yeah. Another one is windmills, and this one is also you're going to be standing, and you're going to look up to the sky and reach your arms up, and then you're going to bend down and touch your toes with your opposite hand. So touch your left foot with your right hand. Then you're going to go back up to starting position and then bend down and touch your right foot with your left hand. So we're getting a lot of crossing midline here. You're also getting a lot of vestibular input, so just make sure you're doing some heavy work afterwards.
Another one is metronome cross claps. We love using metronomes during lots of our activities, so make sure you turn it on to a slow beat, like 60 beats per minute, and have the child do cross clap patterns either by themselves while you're sitting across from them or while they're sitting across from a peer, and have them clap and cross and reach across their body doing high fives, even just crossing and clapping on their knees while they're sitting crisscross. Lots of different ways that you can do cross lateral claps. Just focus on doing so with the timing of the beat.
And then another one is a game that we love to play. It's called Pop-Up Pirate. We will link it in the show notes. This is a really great game to focus on bilateral integration because the child has to stabilize the toy structure while they push or pull the key in or out of the barrel. And then it's super fun when the pirate pops out and they can try to catch it with both hands.
Number 4, to work on mid-range control, so that underlying skill required to bring the food from the spoon to their mouth without all of the food dropping off. So games like Suspend or Jenga, where they have to very carefully hold their arms up against gravity in these positions that not necessarily requiring force, but they require a bit of delicacy, and we'll link those 2 games in the description if you want to check those out as well.
Other simple games to work on mid-range control would be stacking blocks and making a really tall block tower, because once that tower gets so high, you have to be super, super careful and delicate. I liked that word that you used, delicate, when you put the next block on so that it doesn't knock over. So this really teaches that mid-range control. Number 5 is eating simulation games. So these are any games that are pretend play games, essentially. So this can be with pretend food, play food. You can use Play-Doh to make food. I know when my son was young, he had a little toy oven and really small plate and fork, and he would use it with his Play-Doh and make food with his Play-Doh and cook it in the oven and take it out. But any of those eating food simulation games are great.
Some of our favorites include Crazy Cereal, Ned's Head, There's a Yeti in My Spaghetti.
Just the names are fun.
Crocodile teeth, so like those mouths that open, they have like the teeth that you can put food in, and we'll link our favorites in the description below if you can find them. Unfortunately, some of these can be difficult to find, but hopefully you can grab them and play with them. And the last thing that we want to make sure that you are aware of is this video consists of activities for kids from toddlerhood and up. So depending on the child's level, they will need to be modified so that way they're meaningful to the child. We're not going to work on rote sensory bin activities with a teenager and it doesn't mean anything. We want to make sure that you're providing value, whether you're a therapist working with a child or if you're a parent working with your own child. We want these activities to be meaningful and special for the kiddo to work on.
Yeah. If you liked this video, let us know. Drop a comment below. Make sure you like this video as well and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yep. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are at Harkla_family as well as at All Things Sensory Podcast. And with that being said, make sure that you listen to our podcast as well. We are on all major podcast platforms and it's just All Things Sensory.
If you liked this video, share it with a friend and we'll see you next week.
Okay, leave it on. Take my spot.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel. Self-feeding, how do you guys do this?